session, like would be the case with other workshops. That is first part. So this is the arrangement. This is the logistics by which we are going to proceed in this class. Okay. And if you have doubts, you could either write to me directly, or if we have the time permits, and if we can have, we can take some time off at the end of the class, you can go ahead and do that. If you're writing, if you're through writing, and that is when you're developing the doubts that you have, then kindly write to me instead of, unmuting yourself and asking me a question in the class, because this is going to be a practice session. So we do not want to disturb other people. So whatever doubts you have as you're writing, please send a private message, a direct message through chat, right? And for the other aspects, the other classes, the following classes, particularly the one that's going to happen day after tomorrow and the 2 classes next week, you're going to get a lot of writing prompts, right? So we'll be taking, definitely collecting the responses that you have provided with us. We'll definitely be making a collection of that. You will get evaluation and feedbacks separately if you insist on, but otherwise what we are going to do is we're going to share the work that you would write with your permission, and then have like a general feedback on how it has been written based on the instructions that's given to you in the mini lessons. Okay, but if you're looking for feedbacks beyond that, then again you will have to write back to us. We would try and see how we can inculcate the responses required, but all of those responses definitely would be based on the topic for this workshop. Okay, so make sure that your doubts are not way too beyond what is being discussed. It would be really nice if you stick with what is being discussed, but if it's like a very if it is something that is bothering you too much when you're writing, then of course you can ask that. This is a basic writing skills workshop. So we're not going to be looking at essays as such, right? We're going to begin with the building blocks, by which I mean we're not going to look at sentences, how to write sentences and all that. You have been given enough instructions on all of those in your course content. So if you have ever taken English 1 or English 2, there are too many lectures on how to do that. So we will not resort any of our time to teaching you how to write a sentence here, but we're going to look at a little more. It is basic, but the first basic that we require here is to how to write a paragraph, right? So mostly this workshop is going to be about that. So paragraph writing, different kinds of paragraphs. There are many, but I'm going to be utilizing a maximum of 2 or 3 types. Okay, not more than that. The 2 or 3 basic types that you have in paragraph writing are the ones that we'll be choosing for these sessions, right? And based on your understanding, based on your training and practice on that, you can definitely develop on the other kinds of paragraphs. So they won't be very tough. Okay, so this is from my part, quick guidelines and instructions and introduction on how the sessions would proceed. If you have any doubts, you can ask that is relating to this. Else we begin the session. Yes, Karthik, this will be uploaded in YouTube. So people who aren't able to connect here can definitely go back and look at the sessions there. But I don't think you can, if it be available for you at a later date, Aishwarya can confirm that. Maybe, I don't know if it is like a live or it's a recorded and uploaded thing. Is that so, Aishwarya? I don't know. All right, she'll confirm later. I don't know if it will be recorded and uploaded, or it will be available once the session is over. That I cannot confirm on. Not sure about that part. Okay, so any other questions, or we'll begin? I think this was just one question from Karthik. That's all. Okay, so for the following sessions, yeah, one important thing. For the other 3 sessions, you're definitely going to be divided into groups. So they're going to be breakout rooms. So you all are going to be working on individual topics. Okay. I have a set of them, and depending on the group and the crowd that we have here, I'm going to be dividing you into groups, and each of the group is going to get a topic. You will get individual writing prompts, and you'll be given time for both individual thinking for thinking about your topic, as well as a brainstorming session where you can talk to each other about what you think can be the probable things that you can write in the paragraph, right? So from the next session onwards, you definitely are going to be in groups. Okay, so for today you can take all the activities as such. Okay, you won't be submitting anything for today's session, but you will be just working on your own at your end. But from the next session onwards, you will both make a submission, as well as submission would be in real time. You don't have to like write it separately and then give us. So it would be done in real time using a peer deck. So it won't be a problem. And you're going to be working in groups. More importantly, that all the writing prompts would be given to you in groups. So you will have a space to both interact with others as well as write your own points, right? All right. Okay, so we'll begin with the session. Okay, are you all able to see the screen? Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so this one just has quickly, something on what I have already told you, right? So this is the plan for today's class. We are going to be, the mini lesson is going to be about the development of paragraph and the essentials. Okay, so we're looking at both the techniques as well as the components, right? Both of them are what we're going to be dealing with. Let me make this full screen for you. Oops. Okay, so these two are going to be, they'll occupy the major focus for us in the class today. And in the work time, we're going to look at going to do a very basic activity on how to identify them, right? So once you're able to correctly identify them in the paragraph, you can use that particular idea or that understanding to write a paragraph on your own, right? So today's activity is going to be mostly identification based, but from the next class onwards, you're going to actually write, okay, based on what you understand and hear in the class today and on the classes that happen later, right? So this is it. I'm going to start talking to you about the first essential component of a paragraph, right? So any paragraph, if you have come across any of it, you know that it is definitely, it is not a sentence or two sentence, okay? Mostly all the paragraphs, any basic paragraph is going to be a group of sentences, right? You have definitely about 3 or 5 sentences. And within these sentences, there could be that one sentence that stands out and is extremely important, because that is the one which introduces you to the topic that you're going to deal with, right? And it is therefore called the topic sentence of the paragraph. What does a topic sentence do? This is a very important part in all paragraphs. No paragraphs can be written without a topic sentence. At least if you're writing for the purpose of, say, if you're writing for research, if you're writing for professional purposes, then definitely you cannot have a paragraph without a topic sentence. Sometimes in fiction and creative writing, you could see authors using a style where they skip topic sentences, right? So you read through the details, and then the topic sentence is only implied. It becomes the reader's task to figure out what the topic is. But in any other forms of writing, you definitely see that a topic sentence is something that you definitely have to write down. Now, what does it do? It makes a claim about the topic in question. So this is very important, makes a claim. So your topic sentence cannot be a factual statement, right? It cannot be something that states a fact, or it is not something that gives you a specific detail. It needs to be a claim which can be then later on argued using other sentences, right? It needs to be something that should be that you as a writer must be able to establish using other facts and figures or examples or citations, etc. Right? So you cannot then use a factual statement as your topic sentence, right? It should be something like a claim which you prove, you argue and establish in the sentences that would follow it, right? So this is the first point about topic sentence. The second thing is that it should have the main idea. Okay, it should house the main idea that your paragraph is going to talk about. Right? It should connect you to the main idea, the main point, or the purpose of the paragraph that you're writing. Right. So this is the second one. First is should make a claim that should be further elaborated upon or proved or added using other sentences in the paragraph. Second is it should contain the main idea and the subject that you're going to write about. So there's a distinction between subject or the topic and the main idea. Topic is simply what you're writing about. Okay. Main idea is what is it that you're writing about the topic, right? Both of them become a part of your topic sentence. Together, they become the topic sentence of the paragraph, right? You'll understand it once I give you the example, right? What also is important for the topic sentence is that it helps you connect to the overall attitude of the paragraph. How does it do that? This is also something that we are going to look at when we are in the example, right? So three things: establish the claim, okay, express the main idea and the subject, and third one, connect to the overall attitude, okay, overall um, uh, attitude of the paragraph given. Okay. Now, some of these questions can be very handy for you while you are trying to identify a topic sentence in your um, paragraphs, right? What are these? What is this paragraph mostly about? So the question what, okay? The question what will answer the topic of your paragraph or the topic sentence itself, right? What is the first thing that you should look at? Second is, what is the big idea, the central idea? How do you understand what is the central idea, right? This would be something that you keep saying repeatedly in the paragraph. That is what the other point here is. What phrase or word do you see repeated? So if there is that one word or one phrase that you keep seeing again and again in the paragraph, then definitely that is the one that the paragraph wants to talk about, right? So what is it, the phrase or word that answers the question what, or that particular phrase or word which keeps repeating throughout the paragraph, ideally then becomes the topic on the main idea of the paragraph. Okay. Additionally, you could also ask the question, which is that single word? What is that single word that you can use to describe the paragraph, right? All of these questions put together, or either all of them or one of them, will definitely answer your question about what the topic is and what the topic of the topic sentence or the paragraph is. Okay, this is for the identification of the topic alone, right? Two things: it should answer the question what, and second, it should also refer to that particular word or phrase which keeps repeating, okay, in the paragraph. Now, main idea. What question can you ask to identify the main idea? Some of these, okay, all of these, or at least one of this will certainly answer the question on what is the main idea. Okay. Now, what are those questions? What is the author saying about the topic? Okay, so now you have the topic, the question what, and the repetition of the phrases, words answered your question for what the topic is. Now, once you have the topic, you ask the question, what is the author saying about the topic? Okay, what is the paragraph mostly about? Right? What do the details explain about the topic? So everything is about the topic, right? Something is being said about the topic. It could be opinion, okay? It could be a narrative thing, right? A personal experience or an anecdote about the topic. It could be an example that elaborates the topic. Okay, it could be reasons for the topic. It could be advantages or disadvantages for the topic, right? But it says something about the topic, right? That's the point. Some major points, some details, right? Something about the topic, right? So if one of these questions or all of these questions can be answered, right, then you can identify what the main idea is. So then, together with the topic and the main idea, both of them together will give you what is referred to as the topic sentence of a paragraph, right? Most of the times topic sentence appear in the beginning of the paragraph. Okay, so this is not important, right? This is not like a hard and fast rule. It is not really important that your topic sentence is located right in the beginning. But in most of the paragraphs, in all the commonly situated paragraphs, topic sentence ideally appears at the beginning. Okay, the ideal position for it would be the beginning of the paragraph. But again, there is no this is not a fossilized rule, right? So depending on your audience, depending on what style and purpose your writing has, you can play around with the position too. Okay, that's all allowed in language. Now, the second part that one needs to keep in mind. So now you have the topic sentence of the paragraph. Now the second part, the second essential component that fits in a paragraph is called a supporting sentence. Okay, so you can have several supporting sentences. It's not just one. In most of the paragraphs, you will have supporting sentences, right? So somewhere around 3 or 4 supporting sentences, ideally you have in a commonly situated paragraph, right? What does a supporting sentence do? So now you have the topic and you have the main idea. So you have declared the topic. You've also said something about the topic, which is your main idea. Now you're going to elaborate, right? Remember, I told you the topic is a claim. Topic sentence basically makes a claim, which needs to be further elaborated with the help of the following sentences. And what are those following sentences? They are referred to as the supporting sentences. Okay. What does a supporting sentence do and how do they do that? What does it do? Look at that screen. Top supporting sentences will add to what has been already, can add details to what has been said about the topic by the main idea, right? It can explain or elaborate about the topic and the main idea, right? Those sentences can do that particular task, or it can also prove what is being claimed in the topic sentence, right? So add, explain or elaborate, or prove. If it is adding, right? If it is adding to what is being mentioned in the topic sentence, then you will see that in most of the paragraphs that helps you add in the paragraphs which use supporting sentences that add to the topic sentence, they will have a tendency to use quotations. Okay, so basically you are making a claim and then you are finding people who have already spoken about this. Okay, people who have and credible sources, recognized sources, popular individuals, personalities who also have made similar claims or who are in agreement to the claim that you are making, right? So you bring in quotations from them, right? This is very common in paragraphs that are written in research writing, right? So you quote from the literature that you have read, right? The authors or other people that you have read from the same domain who make the similar claims, right? It adds more credibility to what you are writing, right? So whenever you want to add, right, you could use quotations, right? So such kind of paragraphs will use quotations a lot. When you want to explain or elaborate, if your supporting sentences are trying to explain or elaborate or describe what is being mentioned in the in the topic sentences, you would use facts, data, statistics, or examples, right? All of these facts, data, statistics, examples can be used to explain or elaborate on the topic topic and the main idea in the topic sentence, right? Now, if you're trying to prove, again, if you're trying to prove the claim that is, suppose, there is a claim that you've made in the topic sentence and you're trying to prove it, then all your supporting sentences are going to look like that of reasons, right? They will all be giving reasons to support the claim that is made in the topic sentence, right? So it's very simple. These are all things that we have already seen. Okay, we've by now read a lot of paragraphs on different areas, in different areas on different topics. These were all right in front of our eyes. It's just that we were not paying enough attention, right? We're not looking at it in terms of understanding the structure. So now onwards, when you read, try to locate these things in your paragraphs. So once you understand the mechanics and the craft that has gone into producing or making that particular paragraph, you will see that you you will be able to write better. Okay, all this while you were just trying to understand what has been written there, and you had hiccups while you wanted to write yourself. If you pay closer attention to the structure, then you will see that it will definitely enable you to write one on your own in a much better way than you were doing till now. Okay, so this is about the supporting sentence, right? Now, the last part in the structure of a paragraph is the concluding sentence, right? So you had the topic sentence, then the supporting sentences, and now you have the concluding sentences. In standalone paragraphs, for example, it's just one paragraph that you're writing, right, about something, then concluding sentences are very, very important. In longer essays, sometimes, because you have multiple paragraphs dealing with various aspects of the same idea, it becomes not a very necessary, it is not very necessary, or it is not compulsory that you should have a concluding sentence for every paragraph. However, if it is a standalone paragraph, it is a single paragraph that you are writing, then it is a must that you include a concluding sentence, okay, without which it won't be considered complete. It wouldn't be considered a good piece of writing, right? Now, what does the concluding sentence do? What is its function? Very simple. It just restates, okay? It restates what is being said in the topic sentence, or reinforces, okay? Re-emphasizes, restates what is been already claimed in the topic sentence, and it uses several techniques to do that. What are the techniques? What are the kind of practices that it adopt to restate and reinforce? It will use a prediction statement, right? So your sentence can look like that of a prediction, like you're making a prediction, or your sentence could sound like a suggestion, right? So you suggest something. That can also be a concluding sentence. Your concluding sentence can also be a recommendation, like particularly in cases like a report, or an annual report, or a scientific report that you're submitting, a diagnostic report that you're submitting. All of them are going to have some recommendations on that, right? So the conclusion part then mostly is occupied by these recommendation sentences, which are essentially the concluding sentences of your paragraph, right? In addition to that, you can also have a final observation or a summary point, a summarizing point as your concluding sentence. This final observation usually happens when you're writing an opinion paragraph, right? So if you're writing an opinion about something, then usually the concluding sentence of such paragraphs are final observations, okay? Because you cannot provide suggestions or predictions or recommendations in an opinion paragraphs. What you can do there is that you give a something like a final observation statement, right? So this forms the basic structure of any paragraph. Topic sentence, which has the topic and the controlling idea, or the main idea as it is called. The supporting sentences, which forms the meat of the whole of the paragraph, the heavy part, the body of the paragraph. And the concluding sentence, which sort of helps you to round off or push the reader to think further, or make a prediction, or give a suggestion, give a solution, give a recommendation, or provide a final observation to what is being written about. Okay, so this is the basic structure. These are the components that you must keep in mind while you are crafting or writing a paragraph about anything. Okay, we can discuss the structure that I just mentioned, that we talked about, with the help of this very simple paragraph that I have. This is something that I have written. This is a very, very basic paragraph I had written to introduce you to what topic sentences, main idea, topic, supporting sentence, and concluding sentence means. Okay. So you can read along with me, and then I will take you through how we differentiate between these components here. So this is a very short paragraph on the color blue. Okay, very simple paragraph. I love the color blue. It symbolizes many emotions. However, blue is often associated with melancholy. Surely a few would be of that opinion. Blue, but for me, is the color of tranquility. In all probability, the serene sky would not have been the same. Sapphires would not have had their dazzling luster. Undoubtedly, it is a magical color that I adore. Okay, so a group of sentences, very simple ones, mostly, they follow the ideal structure that we discussed: topic sentences, supporting sentences, and the concluding sentence. What's the topic sentence here? The first one, this part that you see here, I love the color blue. Okay. Now, what is the topic here? The color blue, right? What is the controlling idea or the main idea? This is more like an opinion paragraph, right? This is an example of an opinion paragraph. Uh, the author is talking about the person's the liking is about the color blue, right? So paragraph is about the color blue, and so the topic is blue, which is recognizable from the topic sentence. What is the main idea? It is about the love of the author for color blue. So everything else that you see here as supporting sentences is something that would add to this liking. Why does the person like it? Like, look at these sentences, right? It symbolizes many emotions, right? So the person likes the color blue because the author thinks that it has the ability to symbolize many emotions. Okay, and as an addition to that particular sentence that is used, the person says, however, okay, now this is contrast. It can symbolize many emotions. However, is the word that you use to express contrast. We'll discuss about a very important aspect in paragraph, which is transition devices. I will talk to you about that when we are talking about different types of paragraphs. Okay. But for your information at this point, however, is a transition device. These devices are very important in any forms of writing because they act as linkages. Okay? They act as linking tools between the various sentences within a paragraph, and also if it is a longer essay, between the paragraphs too. Right. So we'll talk more about them when I talk to you about the different types of paragraphs. So, however, blue is often associated with melancholy. Right. So this is a contrast, right? The word, however, a transition device used to express contrast, tells you that the author believes other ways. Okay. Author thinks that it symbolizes many emotions, but certainly some people associate it with melancholy, right? And then further on adds. So the second sentence makes an opinion. Okay. I love the color blue has made an opinion that the person loves, right? Second sentence adds to that by saying that it symbolizes many emotions. Third sentence adds a contrast to the previous sentence by saying that some people would associate it with, sorry, that it is often associated with melancholy. Then, in addition to that second sentence, continuing in the same direction, presents another sentence. Surely a few would be of that opinion, right? So, surely again here acts as a linkage device, right? A linkage signpost, linguistic signpost, right? Without which, if you simply write, however, blue is often associated with melancholy, a few would be of that opinion, something is missing, right? It does not ensure that flow, right? It does not give you proper flow to the writing. So in order to avoid that abruption that can happen, you've included the word surely. And the function of it is to, the major function of which is to act as a linking device there, right? The next sentence, blue but for me, again expresses a contrast, right? Comes back to the second sentence, adds to it by bringing in a contrast. Blue but for me is the color of tranquility. Okay. And in the rest of the following, the rest of the sentences again goes on adding details to why the person likes the color. In all probability, the serene sky would not have been the same. That is without the blue color. If it were not blue, the serene sky would not have been the same. Gives another example. Sapphires would not have had their dazzling luster, right? So this is also something, again, makes an addition to what is being expressed as a love for the color blue. And then makes a final statement, a final observation, which reinstates the topic sentence. What's the topic sentence? I love the color blue. Now look at the concluding sentence. Undoubtedly, it is a magical color that I adore, right? So reinstates and then makes a final observation. What is the final observation? It is a magical color. And reinstation, that I adore. Okay. So this is how essentially or ideally um, a a paragraph should be written, right, with proper structure, having all the components intact, and all of them doing their work as discussed with you, right? The topic sentence making the claim, supporting sentences engaging and proving or adding to it, and the concluding sentence restating or reinforcing the idea that's presented in the topic sentence. Okay, is that understood? Fine. All good?
Yes,
Right. Okay, yeah, thank you. So now we'll move on. Before we start looking at the exercises for today's class, I would like to discuss with you about the um, topic sentence particularly. So out of all these sentences that we have looked at, supporting sentence and concluding sentence, the one that is a little complicated is a topic sentence, because this is the major one in the paragraph. If you have written a bad topic sentence, then it affects the whole of your um, paragraph. So it is very important that we know the techniques and strategies that we can use to write a good topic sentence, right? So like I told you, it should be a claim. Do not write a factual statement as a topic sentence. It should be something that you can argue and prove or add in the using the sentences that uh, follows it, right? But what are the techniques that you can use, right? So we can talk about that first. You can use a question sentence, right? You can use a question as your topic sentence. Why question? Because human beings have a basic tendency, it's a very humanly nature. All human beings are very curious. So if you pause your topic sentence as a question, it would further jolt the reader. It would jolt the reader to read your work further. Okay, it generates some sort of interest and curiosity in the reader, and hence a topic sentence uh, which is designed or fashioned as a question, which is posited as a question, can improve the readability of your work. Okay, so if you are somebody who works in the marketing field, you're trying to market something to your customers, then certainly this is a good technique that you can use to get their attention and get them read what you have written, right? So that is one technique that you can use, right? So let me give you an example. For example, I am trying to talk about the advantages of wearing mask, right? So wearing mask is my topic. Okay, wearing of the mask is my topic, and my main idea is to talk about the advantages of wearing the mask. Okay, so topic is wearing the mask, and main idea or the controlling idea is the advantages, right? So what can constitute main idea? Advantages, disadvantages, precautions, ways, steps, methods, types, features, characteristics, all of them are what you call as the main ideas, right? So like advantages of something, disadvantages of something, precautions regarding something, types of certain things, right? Ways, steps, methods to do something, right? So there's something in all this statement that I said is the topic, and precautions, advantages, disadvantages, all of them become the main ideas. They become the controlling idea, right? So supposedly, for example, if I'm interested in speaking about the advantages of wearing a mask, then one method to write the topic sentence for such a paragraph is to use a question. How can I do that? I can ask a question like, are there a lot of advantages of wearing a mask? Right? Now, this is a question that I'm positing. Natural human tendency, curious. People want to know, are there advantages? Now that it is also a rule, many places have mandated, we all know they have been mandated, right? During the pandemic. So a lot of people would like to know, why should I wear one? Right? So asking a question like, are there a lot of advantages of wearing a mask, can kick in the natural curiosity factor in human beings, and it can improve the readability of what you're writing. So anybody who's writing, say, someone who's in charge of, say for example, you work in the Ministry of Health, right? And you're asked to compile a pamphlet or a brochure regarding COVID protocols. One of it is definitely going to be on this. So what technique can you use? You can use this. You ask a question. You would have already seen these techniques if you have watched closely, these write-ups. So the question can look like this, okay? What are there a lot of advantages of wearing a mask? It's a yes or no question. The answer is yes, and it's going to give you the details, right? So your topic sentence can begin like that. Another way, another method of writing your topic sentence could be to use a command, right? Use an imperative sentence like, think of the different advantages you have while you wear a mask. Okay, you can write a sentence like that. Think of the various advantages. Think of those advantages that you can have. Think of those various advantages you have by wearing a mask. Okay, so this is the topic sentence. You can begin your paragraph using this method also. This is an imperative statement. Think about, right? This almost sounds like a command. You're telling the person, think about it. Think about the various advantages. Think about the several advantages of wearing a mask. And then go about writing the advantages in your supporting sentences, right? So this is second method. The third method that you can use to write a topic sentence is by, stating two sentences, have two sentences, one of which is in contrast to the other one, right? So you use two sentences out of which one is in contrast. In contrast means the one of it is in a different direction than the other, right? So to give you an example, wearing a mask can have both cosmetic and medical disadvantages. Okay, so this is the first sentence. Wearing a mask can have both cosmetic and medical disadvantages. However, right? Next one. However, using a mask has a lot of advantages, right? You see what we have done here? We've used two sentences, both of them in contrast to each other. The first one was talking negatively about the mask. What was that? Wearing a mask can have both cosmetic and medical disadvantages. And then the second sentence is the one that is in contrast with this. It says, however, wearing a mask can have a lot of advantages, right? What are those advantages? You will write them down in the supporting sentences. This is also one very effective method of writing a topic sentence, right? So write two sentences, put the first one, write the first one, and when you write the second one, put that in contrast to the first one. Okay. The second sentence should be ideally the sentence on which you're going to build on the paragraph, right? So here you have put the advantage sentence in contrast to the first one, because you are going to write about the advantages of wearing the mask. If you're going to write against it, then that would have become the second sentence. Whatever you're going to write about, that becomes your second sentence in the two sentence strategy. All right. The last one is to use a complex sentence which has an adverbial phrase. Okay, you might not be, I do not know how much you are aware about the structure of complex sentence and adverbial clauses are. We will not go into the details of it. I'll just give you an example so you will understand it better. Three examples actually. Complex sentence. The first one, so look at this. Although wearing a mask can have cosmetic and medical disadvantages, wearing it can have a lot of advantages. What did I do? I created a complex sentence. So one part of the sentence is dependent on the other. Although wearing a mask can have cosmetic and medical disadvantages, wearing it can have a lot of advantages. So the first part, although wearing a mask can have cosmetic and medical disadvantages, is an incomplete sentence, right? It is not a full sentence. It's not a complete clause. This is called a dependent clause, right? So that first part is it's not independent. It is dependent on the second part. What is second part? Wearing a mask can have a lot of advantages. This is a full sentence. It sounds like a complete sentence, right? It has a subject and a predicate. But the first one was incomplete. So that first part is called as the dependent clause. And the one that follows is what is called the independent clause. Okay, you don't have to remember these names. The point is that in a complex sentence, you will have both. One will be dependent and one will be independent. In this case, the first one, although wearing a mask can have cosmetic and medical disadvantages, is your dependent one. And the one that follows, wearing a mask, wearing a mask can have a lot of advantages, is your independent one, because it is a full sentence. It can stand on its own, right? So this is a structure of a complex sentence. So using a complex sentence is also a very good, effective strategy to write a good topic sentence, right? Other examples of writing the same topic using a complex sentence could be an if conditional clause. Okay, you can write a if and condition, a conditional complex sentence, which would be like if you um, if you have ever worn a mask, you will understand the several advantages that it can give you, right? So this is a conditional statement. If you have ever worn a mask, or let's say if you have ever developed an allergy due to pollution, you will understand the um, advantages of wearing a mask. So you basically given the condition, and then you are giving the effect statement, right? So this is also a complex sentence, and it is talking about the advantages of wearing a mask, but through an if conditional statement, right? If you have ever caught a cold, or if you have ever developed allergies due to pollution, you will understand the several advantages of wearing a mask. Okay, complex sentence, but in an if conditional statement mode. The last one could be where you, one other form of complex sentence that you can use is where the the reason is specified, right? So the if conditional one is the condition, and then this one is the reason. So how can you write it? When you want to avoid allergies due to pollution, you must wear a mask, right? You will wear a mask, or I mean, you can rearrange the sentence as you want. What comes first and what goes next doesn't matter. But the sentence would look like this: when you want to avoid allergies due to pollution, you will see that wearing a mask has a lot of advantages. Okay, right? The key word here is advantage again. So that should appear in your sentence, in the topic sentence. So the third method is, the third kind of complex sentence is giving the reason. When you want to avoid allergies from pollution, you will realize that there are a lot of or several advantages to wearing a mask. Okay, so there are I discussed three different complex sentences that you can use. So all of them, the first one was in connection with the reason, sorry, condition. The second one, reason. And the first one, although, that mentioned a contrast, right? So all these three methods can be used with the help of a complex sentence to write your topic sentence, right? So this, along with the first three that we mentioned, right? Using a question, or using a command, or using a two-sentence technique where one of it is in contrast to the other. All these can be different methods that you can use to write a topic sentence. Okay, you keep this in mind, because next week, next week, in the sense, the next class that we are going to engage, I'll be giving you writing prompts, right? So you're going to utilize these techniques to write down your topic sentences for your paragraph, right? So just keep this in mind, right? Any doubts so far? Anything that you haven't understood, or anything that you want to ask?
No.
No?
Clear, ma'am.
All clear? Okay. So we're going to do like a very basic exercise today, just to get you introduced to what these things are and how they function. So just look at your screen. You have three sentences, right? All of them are topic sentences. Your task is to look at each one of them and identify both the topic and the main idea. So if you have understood the discussion, then you should know how to identify the topic. What do? You ask the question, what? Right? If you had the whole paragraph, you could have looked for those words or phrases that were repeated. Yes, who is this? Did anybody ask anything? I heard someone. No? Okay, all right. So, if you want to identify the topic, you're going to ask the question what, and if you have a whole paragraph in front of you, then you're going to look at those words and phrases that are repeated, right? So that is the task. So here you just have the sentence. You just have to identify what the topic is. Ask the question what, right? And to identify the main idea, you're going to ask what is being spoken about what, okay? So that is how it is going to function. Just look at that. Just three of them, very simple. The first one, artificial intelligence with a written or oral interface is supposed to make our lives easier in future. Okay, I see responses from some of you. Mhm. Okay. Yeah. Any quick responses on that? Yeah, the topic would be artificial intelligence, Adarsh says, and the main idea is makes our lives easier. Okay. Mm. Do artificial intelligence makes our life easier? This is you're asking a question to it, no? Yeah. So yes, oh, you're giving me topic sentence. Good. You can I mean another way of writing this sentence would be that to a topic sentence, right? Yes, correct. So yes, your topic is then artificial intelligence. Definitely. What is it talking about? Artificial intelligence. What is the main idea? Main idea is regarding its ability to make our lives easier in future, right? So that particular part is supposed to make our lives easier. This is the claim you are making, right? Artificial intelligence is your topic. Okay, you can ignore the other part that you see there with a written or oral interface. That is just an additional phrase that is given there. It does not add to your understanding of what the topic or the main idea is. It is just a modifier phrase that has come along with artificial intelligence, right? Or at least at this point, we don't know because we only have the sentence, the topic sentence with us, right? So the topic is artificial intelligence, and what is the controlling idea? The main idea is supposed to make our lives easier in future. So what, if you ask the question like we saw in the slide, what is the paragraph, what is the topic going to talk about? It is going to talk about artificial intelligence's role in making our lives easier. So the supporting sentences then are going to be the ones that will support this claim, right? That it is supposed to make our lives easier in future, right? Okay. Anybody, any confusion till now? Okay. Easy ones. Second one, the Victorian era is known for the galaxy of female novelists. What's the topic? Navneet, which era is known for? Ask the question what. Okay, that is a better way to put that. Okay, which is usually asked when you're looking for a description. When you're looking for an entity or an answer, usually ask the question what. Okay, so the Victorian era, correct? Victorian era is your topic. And what is your main idea? It is going to talk about the galaxy of female novelists. So it says is known for the galaxy of female novelists. So which means your paragraph or your supporting sentences are now going to talk something about all those female novelists who used to write in the Victorian era, right? What about it that the writer can decide? What aspect of the female novelist do they want to write about? Do they simply want to give a list? Is the author intending to write an enumerative paragraph, where the person gives you just a list of the authors and their works, okay? Or are they going to talk about the writing style of these authors? All of these things will become a part of the supporting sentences, okay? The role of the main idea in the topic sentence is just to tell you what about the topic, Okay, what about the topic am I going to write? That's it. Third one, object permanence is the ability to understand that an object still exists even when it can no longer be perceived in any way. Okay. So you don't have a variety in these topic sentences like the ones I discussed with you. So we don't have questions, we don't have commands, we don't have those two sentence patterns or the complex sentence with adverbials. Okay. On purpose, because this is your introductory class and I don't want to confuse you at this point, but we will do that. Might be object part in our life. Uh-huh. What about that? I did not get you. Okay. Anyway, so the topic here is what? Object permanence is the ability. What is the topic that the author talks about? Object permanence, right? Yeah, right. A lot of you are responding with permanence. Object permanence, okay, not performance. Object permanence is the topic, right? Is the ability to understand that an object still exists even when it can no longer be perceived in any way. So this is what you refer to as a uh, explanatory paragraph. So whatever you're going to see in the supporting sentence is going to explain this phenomena now. What is object permanence, right? Topic is object permanence, and the detail, right? The definition of it, the concept is clarified in the main idea. And now you're going to develop more in the supporting sentence, add more details to enhance the understanding of what object permanence means, right? So you can imagine how this um, paragraph should look like. Okay. So one task that I wanted you to do was also to think about what the supporting sentences could be for each of them, right? So what you can do is you can give me one sentence each for all the three, one supporting sentence each for all the three. Okay. Think about what can be a supporting sentence for the first artificial intelligence topic sentence, then the Victorian era one, and the object permanence. Just one supporting sentence each that you think could be written after this topic sentence. Could be anything. It need not need, you don't have to go into the technical details. Anything that you want to, pick from here based on your main idea. Just give me one sentence, one supporting sentence each. So supporting sentence can be something that you can use to prove, to add, to elaborate, to explain. So based on what you're choosing, your supporting sentence could be a reason. Your supporting sentence could be an example, a quotation, okay, or facts or figures or statistics. Okay, don't have to depend on the accuracy of all that at this point. Just any sentence that fits in one of these categories can be given. Okay. So just take a minute and try and write a supporting sentence, anything. You don't have to write a sentence. You just tell me what can it be about. Okay, let's do it that way because writing sentence might take time. So just tell me what do you think it can be about. We find implementation of AI in our day-to-day activities. Yes, correct. So the topic the supporting sentences can be about how AI becomes useful for us in our day-to-day activities, right? So it can talk about anything. You have your Google Assistant, or it can talk about Alexa, Siri, right? All of them, they can be classified. These are things that they're all found in smartphones, right? They're all assistants, like voice assistants. So in the day-to-day life, there are people who use it, there are people who skip it too. So anything, most of the sentences could be, the supporting sentences can then be about how it makes your life easier. So you can give examples for that. Like I mentioned, Alexa, Siri, right? Very complex. Hers is not hidden that how much AI makes. AI affects data analysis. Oh, yes. Okay. You're a data scientist. You want to talk about the data analysis that the use of artificial intelligence in data analysis. Yes, that is something that you can write about. So the thing is, it is vast, right? It depends on the writer, what you want to pick and develop on. The scope of writing a supporting sentence is very, very vast. You choose what you want to do with it and you write it down. depending on your need, right? Okay, so what about this one? The second one, Victorian era is known for the galaxy of female novelists. What do you think the supporting sentences would be about? Don't have to give me the supporting sentence, just tell me what it could be about. What is Victorian era known for? Every 3 out of 5 novels were penned by female authors. Yes, okay, that is also a good supporting sentence. So either this is going to talk about, will it talk about the Victorian era itself, or will it talk about the female novelists of the Victorian era? Right, because that is a controlling idea, right? So that needs to be fixed somewhere. You cannot simply be talking about Victorian era, but you will have to merge the main idea also along with it, right? So, female novelists of the Victorian era, that is what is going to take up. So, you can give the names of the authors, okay, the famous authors from that time, famous female authors, their works, okay, who were the other authors, okay, to bring in some contrast, maybe you can talk about the male authors, right? So, these, it was mostly, taken over by the female novelists, but here are the names of a few successful male authors. So contrast why this era has so much novelists. Yeah, you can talk about the reasons why. Good, that's also a good thing. You can give reasons about why Victorian era had so many female novelists. Okay, what was so special about Victorian era that it had too many female novelists? Very good. So that's also one thing that you can think about. Anything else? So you see, it could be a reason paragraph. It can be something that gives a reason for it. It could be a enumerative paragraph. The female novelists of Victorian era were one of the best kinds of, you can explain on it. Okay, how female authors' work was prompted in Victorian era. Yes, all of them. Some prominent writers. Yes, yes. Oh, you can mention the prominent writers and how their writing were connected to each other, right? That is also something that you can write. So you see, there are several ideas. So there's no dearth of ideas. You just need to pick it and then use the appropriate technique that is required to build your paragraph, right? Good. So that is good. Third one, object permanence could be a little tough for you to say because it is a little bit of a research-based topic. So object permanence is the ability to understand that an object still exists when it can no longer be perceived in any way, right? So this is a scientific concept and this requires to be proved, right? So you will use instances, right? Instances to prove this statement that, this is actually, if you look at the original paragraph, this is something that has been taken from cognitive psychology. So the person who studied this has actually conducted research on children, right? So you can do it on anybody. Like, you hand over a pen to somebody, right? And then you ask them, can you still perceive the pen? Why objects is very important. Why is it very important? It is important because yeah, you can talk about the importance of object permanence, right? Object permanence helps you identify and understand the concept and things even in its absence, right? So it gives you the ability to perceive things. Ability of perception is very, very important in all spheres of life. So object permanence can boost that. What research can be done? What are the age groups? What kind of individuals can be researched upon? Are children a better choice or are adults a better choice to study? Through touching and holding things. Yes, you can talk about the senses, the tactile sense, right? Based on object permanence. So many things, right? The research and the topic can branch out in many directions you want, right? So good. So this is also one activity that you do. Once you have the topic sentence and the topic and the main idea with you, it will push you to think about what you want to write. Even when you have, many people tell you that I want to write, but I don't know what to write, right? So I have the topic, but then I do not know how to write and proceed with it. It is because you are not making this decision about the direction you want to take. Do you want to explain it? Do you want to prove something about it? Right? Do you want to simply add descriptions and details to it? So if you think about writing about a topic in this direction, then writing becomes very, very easy. Okay, then you will see that automatically a lot of things would come to you. You will have more than actually what you want to write. Then it becomes a problem again. You have to choose between which is more important, what should go, what should not go. That is also a essential skill in writing, knowing what is relevant and what is irrelevant to what you're writing. So this problem of a lot of people who come to you and tell you that I have a hiccup to write, I do not know where to begin. I don't know what to write. I always find that I have lack of ideas to write. It is because you're not thinking, right? So all these trigger points, all these small linguistic posts, right? Reasons, okay. Should I write reasons? Should I write about instances? Should I write about advantages, disadvantages, precautions, types? What do I want to write about? So once you have an idea about these basic words, then you will find a lot of things to write about the topic that you want, right? So that's the aspect. That's the point that I wanted to discuss with you. Now, quickly, this we just finished, right? What do you want to think about it? Now, I have the further things about this artificial intelligence. Now, you have a group of sentences there. Your task is to read them and tell me which one of them are supporting sentences and which one is a concluding sentence according to you, right? According to your logical application to the sentences that you see on screen. Tell me which one is the concluding sentence and which ones are the supporting sentences. The topic sentence is already given to you. Okay, artificial intelligence with the written or oral interface is supposed to make our lives easier in future. Oh, that groups would happen later. Okay, so that is when you get writing prompts. So from the classes on Wednesday, I'm just going to put you randomly in breakout rooms. Okay, so there is no order or any particular preference that I'm going to use for that. Right. So, yeah, which one? Somebody has commented, but I've missed seeing it. Yeah, what is the supporting sentence? Is the second one a supporting sentence? Assistants such as Siri and Galaxy already allow smartphone functions to be operated via language. Yes, right? It is, right. Yeah, the second one is, and the last one is, right? Both of them. Assistants such as Siri and Galaxy already allow smartphone functions to be operated via language recognition and synthesis software, so on and so forth, is definitely something that adds to the claim that it makes our lives easier in future. Somebody says the last one. Okay, AI is not only used to give a verbal command to one smartphone to play a particular playlist, but also features in far more complex. Yes, again, definitely this is also something that is a supporting sentence to your topic sentence, right? What about this one? It therefore seems natural to take advantage of innovative technologies in foreign language learning too. This is not a traditional concluding sentence, which sort of summarizes or winds up what has been written, but this is more like a an observation on what is written. This is not an opinion paragraph, but observations are not completely used for opinion paragraphs. Even other kind of descriptive paragraphs like this can also have final observations as their concluding sentence. So it's therefore. The clue here is that it uses therefore. Yes, correct. Yeah, most of you have identified it correctly. A lot of you say that the first and the last one are supporting sentences, and the second one is sort of a concluding sentence, right? It therefore seems natural to take advantage of innovative technologies in foreign language learning too. This is about the AI, okay? It's technology, AI technologies in foreign language teaching. Okay, fine. Now the next one. This is our Victorian era and the galaxy of the female novelists. Get that? Charlotte Bronte, Emily Bronte, Mrs. Gaskell, and George Eliot are in prime focus. But each of the remaining two prized her own line and made herself known in the field of English novel in her own way. They also include Mrs. Trollope, Mrs. Gore, Mrs. Marrow, Mrs. Bray, Mrs. Henry, Charlotte Younger, Miss Oliphant, and still more. However, the four most important women novelists who yet are quite important are Charlotte Bronte, Emily Bronte, Miss Gaskell, and George Eliot. One of the four, the two first named, were sister, and their methods and achievement as novelists met at many places. So, what are your supporting sentences to the first one, and what could be a possible concluding sentence? Concluding sentence is a little tricky, actually, right? So, like I told you, if it is a standalone paragraph, then it is very clearly visible. But if it is something that is taken off a longer essay, then locating it or making it look like a traditional concluding sentence is a bit of a tough task, but that's okay. That people understand. Why would you not have had one? Okay. Right. So, what are the supporting sentences? Second one is concluding. To prized her own line and made herself known in the field of English novel. Let's see. So what is the second sentence? Do you think what would go after the Victorian era is known? Third one can be concluding. So there are people who say that third one is concluding, and there's also somebody who says second one can be concluding. What is the first one that you would say? I think Charlotte Bronte, the first sentence is the first supporting sentence also, right? Victorian era is known for the galaxy of female novelists. Charlotte Bronte, Emily Bronte, Miss Gaskell, and George Eliot are in prime focus. So these are the prime ones. Then, 3 and 4 is supporting, yes. They also include, the next one would be, they're also jumbled, okay. So they also include Mrs. Trollope, so on and so forth, and still more, right? Adding to the first supporting sentence, right? Then following which, you can say, however, the four most important women novelists, right? So you have given the one in prime focus, then you have added the others, and then now you're telling the person that although we have so many of them, the four most important novelists were the following, right? Then you are left with the second sentence and the last sentence. We have to choose one of them for conclusion. Okay, someone says fourth is the which one do you think within among the second and the fourth, which one do you think is the concluding sentence? Sort of concluding. Four, many fours. A lot of people say four. Fourth. Second one, huh? Why do you say it's the fourth one? People who you're answering, those of you are answering four, read those sentences, but each of the remaining two prized her own line and made herself known in the field of English novel in her own way. The last one is of the four, the two first named were sister, and their methods and achievement as novelists met at many places. Right? So, what is the sentence right before it? However, the four most important women novelists, right? And then look at the fourth sentence here. Of the four. Isn't that in continuation with however the four most important women novelists, right? If you place the second sentence there, it looks a little out of place, right? So the sentence, however, the four most important women novelists is directly connected to of the four. It looks like a natural continuation to that sentence, however, the foremost. So these are the foremost, and of the four, the two first named were sisters. Okay, and their methods and achievement as novelists met at many places. Then you come to the last one. But each of the remaining two prized her own line and made herself known in the field of English novel in her own way. Okay, so that second one becomes the tie up sort of concluding sentence for this whole paragraph. Understand? So look for continuity, right? Like you see in the last two sentences, they're directly, very naturally connected to each other, right? How do you understand that? You keep looking for the words and phrases that are repeating, right? So anything that is repeating, they will have to be put together. Right. So that is how you need to look for the arrangement. Anyway, arrangement, this was surprisingly, I was not intending it to make it like this, but it is good that it was jumbled and you had a chance to look at the logical continuity aspect as well. Right. We look at this more clearly when we are looking at descriptive narrative paragraphs in the coming sessions. Okay. So this is about it for today. Do you have any quick questions or any other related questions to the class today? You can use this time to ask that to me. Okay. Anything at all?
No, ma'am. Thank you.
No? All right.
No, ma'am.
So,
Thank you.
all right. So we will meet for the Wednesday session, okay, where you're going to be doing the writing along with everybody else, and you'll also be sharing that work. Is anyone speaking? Okay. So thanks a lot, and I'll see you on Wednesday.